I am joined by Bobby Fish right now. He has a MLW Championship opportunity coming up at MLW's Lucha Apocalypto show. That's November 9th. Uh, I like this matchup for a lot of different reasons. First and foremost, I just wanted to get your thoughts on getting a chance at the MLW title, working with Kojima. What are your expectations for the match itself, considering? I mean, maybe I don't want to say considering. I don't want it to sound like a negative or anything, but it's Lucha Apocalypto. There's like this big storyline going. It's very like Lucha Underground inspired. There's sort of like this whole story going on, and then you have a title match that doesn't really play into that. So it kind of gets to stand out on its own, I think is a better way to put it. But talk to me about your thoughts going into the match and getting a chance to share the ring with Kojima.
Yeah, I love the idea of like swimming upstream. My whole career is an improbability. And like I love to be told um you can't, because that's been the story, since I was young. And if somebody said to me, "Hey, listen, you're going to make it to WWE. You're going to do this. You're going to be this many times to Japan, et cetera, et cetera." The WWE thing's going to happen. You're 5'8", and it's not going to happen until you're 42 years old. I'd have been like, "You're out of your mind."
Mhm.
But that's exactly the way things played out, and things played out that way because I didn't listen. I mean, if you think that people didn't tell me, even when I started at 25, started training to pro wrestle, that was considered late. But then you look at a guy like Diamond Dallas Page, and Dallas was in the industry, but didn't start training to wrestle until he was 36. And he's just another, I mean, he is probably the best example I've had set for me of like, okay, talk is exactly what it is. It's talk. So say
Mhm.
what you will, but I don't have to listen. Or I don't, more importantly, like I don't have to believe that your words are true. Um, for me going into this and it being on the Lucha show, like it's actually perfect because we are going to stand out because we're going to do something totally different than what the rest of the card's going to look like. B, it's a world title match. I don't care what company, what city, what opponent. That's a world title match. That's for all the everything that matters in that place where you are. And for me, on top of that, it's a Japanese legend where I got my start in Japan. Pro Wrestling Noah was where I learned how to pro wrestle. I
Mhm.
look back at things I learned during my time in Pro Wrestling Noah where like I was just getting beat up night after night. Um, and I still lean on some of those things to this day because I had to learn to quote unquote work because there was a language barrier.
Mhm.
Like, you know, if you're early in your career and you're struggling to, kind of put things together to begin with, introduce two different languages and then, broken English and broken Japanese on either side, like good luck. So there's that stuff, and then on top of it, like working for New Japan when I did Kojima, he's a legend, an absolute legend, and to be able to mix it up with him again, because I've had some opportunities when I was working for New Japan, but they were fewer and farther between. I was uh, it was just not too many opportunities, but like yeah, this couldn't come at a better time. I got to be honest, man.
Mhm. And if I have this correct, like, it's on the internet, but you have had three tag team matches. You've never met in a singles match, so I think that's got to be an added value.
Yeah, I mean that's what it would be, if Kojima and I were in there, which I was positive that we were, but I knew they were something like that. Yes,
Hmm.
100%, definitely tags. I don't know, if there was any like TV or pay per view, or if they were all house shows. Like you just don't know. A lot of days blend together, but
Hmm.
yeah, I mean it's Kojima. Like that's it's an honor.
Yeah.
It's truly an honor. However, I will pay him no honor in the way that wait, pardon the language, but kick the shit out of him um, on that night.
Mhm. One other thing that you have been part of recently, as far as MLW is concerned, is you aligned with the Rogue Horsemen, and you have been part of a very well appreciated stable, the Undisputed Era. Undisputed uh, was part of NXT, but you're going from a group that you know made its name, like the four of you guys made that name together. You made it important. Now you sort of have the horsemen attached, even though it's not four horsemen, it's Rogue Horsemen. You're walking into a situation that has a lot of history. What's that dynamic been like for you? Because you said you've overcome challenges in your career, whether it's Japan, the language barrier. What kind of experience has that been so far? Just kind of attaching yourself to a name like the Horsemen have had in wrestling.
Sure. I love it. I grew up like many, a fan of it, and to think that I jokingly used to call us as the Undisputed Era Hunter's Horsemen, because I felt like we were very much put in that position by Triple H, and I was aware of his appreciation for like the NWA Crockett years time frame, and that was actually something that I was really really keen to. Also, I would say that that's the stuff that made me probably the biggest fan of pro wrestling that I could have been.
Mhm.
So to be put in a position where we were, four guys that truly were, buddies. I mean, we had been up and down the roads together, and then to reintroduce this generation of wrestling fan to the war games, um, to have an opportunity where, Kyle and myself as a tag team, we wrestled on a pay per view in Philadelphia. It was a takeover against AOP, and on the floor is Paul Ellering.
Mhm.
Like, AOP, that's our Road Warriors, and you're putting my best friend Kyle O'Reilly and myself in a scenario where we're in the Brainbusters Arn and Tully role. Like it just it if again another one of those things that if somebody told me that this was going to be my career trajectory, I would have just had a hard time believing it. But that's exactly what it was. So to now have this opportunity, especially with everything, we're all at different points in our career and the progression, right, and evolution.
Mhm.
Where I am in my personal professional evolution is tailor made for something like this, to be able to um, ride side by side with CW, and then to get the opportunity to help Brock Anderson and BRG, who are younger guys on the come up,
Mhm.
that can benefit so much from this group as far as being in a stable a group. It gives you as a younger performer time to grow, and to experience potentially some growing pains while other people share some of the workload.
Mhm.
And that to me is something that I know, really really well. I mean, that's how I came up. That's how I don't want to speak for Kyle, but I would imagine when that I'm not taking too far of a leap here when I say that, like,
Mm,
when we formed Red Dragon, that was kind of really when Kyle and I both started to find ourselves as performers, both collectively and individually. Um, and it's unique that, like, we had known each other for years, been opponents here and there, but it was really, forming that team is kind of where I think a lot of pieces of the puzzle um, just came together for he and I. So to be in a stable like this that harkens back to the Horsemen, I mean, forget about it. And to have an opportunity to help guys on the come up like
mm.
Brock and BRG, like, man, I feel like I was, as a Christian, I feel like I'm tailor made for this, and that there may be some divinity to this happening at this time in this place.
Yeah, it'll be fun to watch it play out a little bit more. I know I talked to CW and Brock before Summer of the Beasts. Like this was when it was just the tag team, so it'll be interesting to see how it plays out. Wanted to
Yeah.
have wanted to have some fun with the next couple of questions if you'll
Okay.
if you'll indulge. Uh, I know you've kind of poked fun at the jokes about your age on social media. Do you have a favorite one that you've seen? You're like, okay,
Um,
that one's good.
I think my favorite one was that I did the job for Abe Lincoln. I think that was one of my favorites.
Okay. Uh,
Yeah.
and you are from Albany, correct?
Yes, sir. Albany, New York, upstate
How
New York.
how often do people ask you about steamed hams or The Simpsons?
Is Albany known for steamed hams and
There
The Simpsons?
there's a bit in one of the episodes where Principal Skinner he goes in, he's like, "Oh yeah, I'm making you steamed hams," and the superintendent uh he's like, "Yeah, I've never heard of that," and he's like, "Oh well, I'm from Albany, and this is what I'm used to."
Okay. I was not keen to that, so thank you for the Iggy. Um, but I guess that kind of answers the question
Yeah.
by default.
I apologize in advance if it starts to catch on now, but
No worries, man.
I know
It could be worse.
sometimes when wrestlers go through certain towns, like I remember talking to Speedball Bailey, and I was like, what are you gonna eat when you're in Albany? Because he's a foodie on the road. He's like, and he started talking to
Yeah.
me about The Simpsons, and I've had other people bring it up, so I figured I'd take a stab at it.
I don't know if I would, if I having grown up in Albany, I don't know if I would say, like, oh, you got to have the steamed hams.
Yeah. All right. So this will be my last question, but there's a lot of stuff that comes up when you think about your wrestling career, whether it's Ring of Honor or Red Dragon or like I said, Undisputed Era. Uh, is there something you want people to talk about more? That's something that just maybe whether it flies under the radar or something you're doing now that, you think deserves a little more attention than some of the other stuff?
I think what's coming, prepare yourselves, because this Rogue Horseman thing it's not going away, and the boys and I have chatted it up enough to where, like, I can't be any more excited about this than I am at the moment. We're gonna shake MLW up, and it's very much kind of in that direction of what I love about pro wrestling. Some of the aspects are a little bit lost in today's product, and
Mhm.
without using inside baseball terminology, I'll say we're going to reintroduce people to some things that are traditional pro wrestling go-tos that not everybody's focusing on anymore. And just prepare yourselves, because MLW is going to get turned upside down, shaken up, um, swished around, kicked down the stairs, whatever analogy you want to use. Um, we're we're gonna shake that place up.
All right. Looking forward to seeing it. get your next chance if you're watching this or listening to this. November 9th, I said Lucha Apocalypto. Bobby, thanks for your time today. I appreciate it.
Yeah, yeah, I appreciate yours as well. Thank you for having me on. And yeah, Kojima needs to get ready because, like I said, this is just the beginning of the Rogue Horseman run. So prepare yourselves.